must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
So me, as a person whose head is not right, why am I asking Kenyan politicians and leaders to revisit the national constitution and come up with a document that is all inclusive for the purposes of creating peace in this country? Indeed, it is now a debate in this country, and in near future, after that handshake, him and President Uhuru, they formulated a body to look into ways and means of coming up with proposals to amend the new constitution. So the labor movement can set an agenda and give guidance or bring about national guidance. We do it here in Kenya. Labor movement. You suggest, you think you are just making a suggestion, and it becomes a national debate. Major works that has been carried out with Raila Odinga are so many, including awards that he has achieved. Raila Odinga ni enigma in Kenyan politics. The Flame of Freedom, an autobiography detailing his life and struggles, was launched in October 2013. He has his biography. Awards that he has had. He has several awards, among them, in 2008, Raila was awarded an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from the University of Nairobi in Kenya. He was awarded an honorary degree from Florida and M University in the United States in 2012. In 1973, those early years, he also exchanged wedding vows with his wonderful wife, Mama Ida, who is also fortunately or unfortunately related to me. She's my sister cousin. So in other words, this guy is my brother-in-law. They have children, a good family, and so on. He was appointed to mediate the Ivorian crisis in 2010. 2010 to 2011, which involved widespread violence following elections in Ivory, disputes such as the one we had. He worked closely with President Mwai Kibaki, our immediate former president, in 2010 to pass a new constitution for Kenya, which removed some of the powers on presidents back to the people. The new constitution that we enjoy, which was promulgated in 2010, he did tireless job to make sure that we have a new constitution. In that constitution, in the Bill of Rights, workers are reflected there. Freedom of association, freedom of choice of your own organization, trade union organization, freedom to strike, freedom to assemble is reflected in the Article 41 of our national constitution. And more importantly, collective bargaining agreement in Kenya is a constitutional issue. It is in the constitution because of us working closely with the experts who are working on that constitution. I want to end there by answering my sister Jacqueline that she's a wonderful girl. We have worked together. We have given support to one another. And we have a problem on the continent of Africa which hinders issues related to salaries or wages. Unless this continent goes fully into manufacturing, we will not be able to put some mechanism to place or to grow our economies so that they can absorb thousands and thousands of young men and women leaving our institutions of high learning. We must 100% go into manufacturing. Yesterday we were challenged by Professor Herman Manyora that Africa as a whole cannot be, has not any country that has manufactured a mobile phone. It's not only mobile phone, we need to go into manufacturing of so many sophisticated issues for purposes of exports. If you are not in business of export, then there is no way you can grow the economy and create employment for your people. I want to thank you, are good people. Brother Adua Mankwa, you can see the attendance of our General Council has been 100%. And this shows the confidence in leadership. You can have a wonderful party, but you will be surprised nobody attends that party, because the organizers of that party, people or the invitees, have no confidence in them. Leadership is confidence, leadership is support, leadership is sincerity, honesty, and tackling specific issues that concerns our people on this continent. So I want to thank you all. We in the Secretariat of Owatu, we are your servants. We are at your service, and we will continue rendering that service unabated, without fear, favor, or any reservation as labor leaders. And when the kitchen is hot, when nobody wants to go to that kitchen, is where a labor leader enjoys now, in that particular kitchen. I think if you ask somebody like Jean Holata, he will tell you that when the kitchen is hot, that is where a labor leader is required to be. I thank you very much. I recognize you all. I recognize our Ambassador Abdullahi Diallo, one of the founders of Owatu, together with the late Dennis J.D. James Dennis Akumu, and Demba Diop, and Mesha, people who steered this organization up to where we are. And as I go to sit down, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, coming back to our local issues, I would appeal to you, as we work closely with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, not to relent on corruption, not to bow on pressure from politicians. He should remain assertive on corruption and ethics of this country. And I think, I want to repeat, he should not bow to political pressure. As I have said, when the kitchen is hot, is when leaders are counted. And me, when things are not hot, members of my family will know. Because I feel as if I'm sick. What makes me happy is controversy. So I will appeal to our president not to bow to pressure. pressure. There is nothing like that. And I was telling my colleagues, if I was elected today as president, I will only serve for 1 term, and the rest of the term they will say, come. And I will also introduce a certain degree of dictatorship to make things happen. Let me invite you, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, talk to us.
Thank you, Brother Francis Atwoli. What he forgot to tell you was that he's also a cousin to President Barack Obama. So my brother Francis Atwoli, President of OATU and Secretary General of COTU. The Secretary General, COTU, Brother Arezki Mezud, OATU. The ILO Director, County Office, Dar es Salaam, Brother Wellington Chibebe. The Sister Jacqueline Mugo, the Executive Director of Federation of Kenya Employers, distinguished delegates, the trade union leaders and presidents, and our investor guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Bonjour. It is a great pleasure for me and an honor to join you at this important conference where you focus on advancing social justice, promoting decent work, and evaluating the role of trade unions in general. It is Friedrich Engels who said, "The workers of the world, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains." As you are aware, Kenya has a history with the labor movement, both in Africa and globally. You have a history of established trade unionists who have made a mark across the globe, and the current efforts led by Brother Francis Atwoli follows this great and established tradition. Here, you can mention the late Tom Mboya and the late Dennis Akumu, who was the founding Secretary General of OATU. We support those efforts, and we also support Atwoli's efforts. This conference is taking place at a very trying and changing time in the world of labor and work in general. But it's also happening at a very hopeful moment for Africa. Africa is today one of the fastest growing regions in the world. Our middle class is rising and is projected to grow to more than 1 billion consumers in the decades ahead. It is happening partly because of our workers and the economic and political reforms we have pursued in the last 2 decades. We are also meeting at a time when the continent is prioritizing continental integration, and trade are the key new drivers of economic growth as envisioned in the Africa Vision 2063 agenda that we are all committed to. That commitment is seen in the recent formation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the new focus on intra-African trade. The economic takeoff we envisage will, however, not be realized without adequate attention to our workers and the work environment. It must therefore create more impetus for a deeper look into our world of work and the plight of our workers. That means our workers will need an ever stronger and louder voice in the coming decades. It means labor leaders will have to consistently remain on the front lines of championing the interests and the concerns of workers and ensure they live and work in dignity. The challenges ahead call for greater collaboration between Africa's labor movement and our governments to address a number of issues. Our countries need to standardize the rules governing the movement of workers, including issuance of work permits and treatment of migrant workers, to avoid developments like those recently witnessed on the continent. We need to make it easier for our skilled workers to work in and for Africa. Today, partly because of low pay, but also because of unclear rules governing acquisition of work permits, a number of our skilled workers find it easier to find work in the Western world and only come back home to retire if ever they return. We must reverse this trend. Standardization of rules will also have to include reforms that help African trade more with itself, so that we don't have to keep looking overseas for trade and skilled labor. Intra-African trade stands today at 15%. Inter-European trade stands at 70%. Inter-Asian trade stands at 50%. That means that Africa trades more with the external world than with itself. And this is what we want to reverse. It is a challenge that our labor leaders must consistently tackle by working in close consultations with our governments. When we trade more, we create work for our people. Labor movements will also have to work with governments to ensure a speedy modernization of our customs and border crossings to make it easier for us to trade with each other, for workers to move from country to country, and for investors to set up shop and provide jobs. Clear rules of engagement will enable us to see each other as partners rather than competitors in the grand plan to make Africa great and competitive. Often, the unfortunate happenings of struggling Africans turning against fellow struggling Africans are never government policies. Such happenings result from frustration with the inadequacy of our economies and the smallness of the ugali. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is very disturbing that you can see fellow Africans burning businesses belonging to same fellow Africans, killing fellow Africans because they are alien to their own countries. Where this conference is taking place, this hotel, down there is a thorn tree restaurant. That thorn tree restaurant used to be known as the South African Corner. That is where the South African exiles used to meet, in that place. It is therefore very disturbing that today South Africans would be killing fellow Africans who have gone there. People who have been liberated from apartheid with the efforts of all Africa. This is completely unacceptable. It is a shame on Africa that this should be happening on our continent. And therefore we've urged our fellow the leaders in South Africa to rise up and wake up and walk the talk. It is not only enough to condemn such acts, but very decisive action must be taken to ensure that there's no repeat of those kind of acts. It's shameful. We condemn racial discrimination in the United States. When fellow black people are being lynched for no other reason other than that they are black. Yet you can see this discrimination of black on black is just as appalling as white on black or yellow or blue and red on black. We want to change Africa, and I'm talking here as a Pan-Africanist and an Afro-optimist. Afro-optimists as opposed to Afro-pessimists. Afro-pessimists are those who have given up on Africa. Those who say that Africa is a lost continent, that Africa cannot make it. Afro-optimists are those who believe in the power of the African people to develop Africa. And it is possible it can be done. And that's why the AU has come up with the Africa Vision 2063, which is aimed at transforming Africa completely and making this continent an African continent. To do this, you have said that we need to open Africa. The African Free Trade Agreement has been signed now by all the 54 states. But how does Africa trade with itself without infrastructure? I'll give an example of a country called Central African Republic. It is just a stone's throw away from Kenya. Only South Sudan is between Kenya and the Central African Republic. But how does Kenya get its goods to Bangui, the capital of Central African Republic? There's no infrastructure. So you have to put it in a ship in Mombasa to go around the Cape, and then along the West African coast to Cameroonian port of Douala, then by truck again all the way to Bangui. The French are there before you. And that's why in Bangui they drink Kenyan coffee, they drink Kenyan tea, christened as English breakfast tea. So we need to transform Africa, and the African Union has come up with several infrastructure projects. The highways, the railway lines, the high-speed railway lines, the free air transport, as well as water navigation and fiber optic connection across the continent. The Trans-African highways, one from the Cape to Cairo, another one from Tripoli to the Cape, another one is from Dakar in Senegal through N'Djamena in Chad to Djibouti, both highway and rail. Dakar to Lagos and Lagos to Mombasa. Then we have got the high-speed railway lines, one from Beira across southern Africa to the port of Walvis Bay in Namibia, and another one to Huambo in Angola. The other one is called the Trans-African Beltway, from the port of Lamu in Kenya, through Juba, South Sudan, through Bangui, Central African Republic, to Cameroonian port of Kribi, opening up the interior of Africa and connecting all the landlocked countries within the interior of Africa. That is now Chad, Uganda, the DRC, the Republic of Congo, the Gabon, and also connected to Nigeria, so that it is possible for goods to move across the continent. So that the goods coming from the East, from China, from Japan, from India, from Singapore, it will come to the port of Lamu. And then from Lamu, you transport them by rail across the continent, dropping them as you move across. The goods coming from the West, from the Americas, from Europe, will go to the port in Douala, and then will be brought across this way. This way will open up the interior of Africa to trade. Then there's also a plan, there's also a rail line that moves along the capital cities on the West African coast, from Lagos all the way up to Cairo. Then we have also fiber optic network that will be connecting also African countries to make it easier also for ICT communication. Then we have got the open airspace, and that's what we call the Yamoussoukro Declaration, which we want to be implemented. It makes it easier for air transport in the continent. As we stand today, there's a lot of impediments in air transport in the country. You need to get clearances from all the air control services across the continent if you want to travel. And this makes the air transport very expensive, because all the permits that are being demanded from the airlines is all loaded on the airfares of the people. And that's why it is cheaper to fly in Europe than to fly in Africa. Europe has got one European air control. In Africa, you want to fly from Kenya to Nigeria, you have to get clearance from Ugandan air control, from DRC, from Central African Republic, from Republic of Congo, from Cameroon, and then Nigeria. That's the kind of bureaucracy that we want to remove, so that we have one continental Africa air control. The other one we're talking about is the waterways transport. Navigation system along the Congo River and also along the Nile River. And they want to make Nile navigable right from Mediterranean into Lake Victoria, so that some ships do not have to go along Suez Canal, around the Horn, to come to the eastern African coast. They can travel all the way from the Mediterranean through Cairo, through Khartoum, through Juba, into Lake Victoria, into Port Bell in Uganda, and into Kisumu in Kenya, and into Mwanza in Tanzania. These are some of the plans that we have as African Union. We also are looking at energy. Africa is energy deficient. Many countries on the continent have to pay a lot of money on energy, which is making them a very unattractive investment destinations. Some countries, a unit of electricity is costing $35 US. How can such a country compete with a country where it is $4 cents instead of 35 cents? Right now in Kenya, it is 13 to 14 cents per unit. Places, it is 4 cents per unit. We are looking at areas where we can get clean and cheap energy. One of them is in the DRC Congo. It's called the Inga Dam, the Great Inga, with the potential of 110 1,000 megawatts. We are working towards developing Inga as a continental project so that countries can sign in and can be able to buy energy from that source. This will enable Africa to add value to its immense resources, natural resources.
Good morning, Africa, wherever you are in the continent of Africa. Good morning, wherever you are in the diaspora. And good morning, wherever you are in the United States of America, in New York, where the United Nations General Assembly heads of states are beginning to arrive one by one. Good morning in Singapore, where President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is in Singapore over different bilateral meetings that are taking place in Singapore. Good morning, all Africans. Good morning, Mr. Atwoli. Good morning, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, for the good words that you have just said. I will start with those words. But before I do that, I would like to introduce my co-host. My co-host is none other than Miriam Ogutu.
Good morning.
Miriam Ogutu, we did quite a lot of things last night on the show. It was fantastic. It opened up a lot of eyes, removed a lot of pecks from people's eyes. I have had tremendous calls up the whole night this morning, right? Some from Somalia, some from where, saying, yes, you push that line, we shall be there. You push the line of people coming to a discussion because we shall live forever as Africans on the same border, the same water, share the same things, even when the court. But why should we go to court? Why can't we sit down right now and do an analysis and engage ourselves and engage each other while things are not bad? Thank you very much, those who sent in their views, and thank you very much, those who also want to criticize. We allow, it's democratic for you to make your suggestions without insulting anybody. You can suggest to us how best we can run this television station without insulting any of us or members of staff or anchors or whatever it is. Our comments are purely from a researched point of view. We shall not tell a lie. This morning, the topic, before Miriam starts her quick through with African news, strictly a through news, which I believe she will touch Zimbabwe, because the doctor is seen. The Zimbabwe doctor, when you reach there, doctor, when you reach Zimbabwe, look at me, then I give you the breakdown. That doctor has been found. The one who was causing us a problem the whole week.
He had been abducted.
Yes, not even abducted. How do you get abducted and your phone is being charged? 1 week your phone is working and you're the same one calling people. Don't you think this is a self-abduction to create a problem? So we look at that next week, and maybe on Sunday we give, is there something wrong in Zimbabwe? More so, there was the rapporteur of the United Nations going there for 10 days. Human rights rapporteur.
Started this week, I think.
Yes, you can imagine. So is Zimbabwe having internal crooks within the system who steal these people, to depict the government of Emerson Mnangagwa as a government kidnapping people. What do you think? We talk about it in your African news. But the topic today is a very interesting topic. It's a topic that I want every African to touch, to look at. What type of society do we want, given the facets, the changing facets of a global nature? We used not to have men marrying men. Today we have men marrying men. We used to have women not marrying women. Today we have women marrying women. What type of society does Africa want? How do we fit in the changing dynamics? How can Africa protect its culture, integrity, credibility? That's what I want. Because we are not the same. God created us. But why did God make Africa black? These are questions that Karl Marx, Max Weber could not answer. Today, we might be the Max Webers of tomorrow. To give a solution is, why did God make this continent black? Why are we crossing over to metros of Europe? To do what? And then God surrounded us with other tribes, with other colors. Just across the Red Sea, you find Yemen, men with swords, cutting each other every night. Towards the border of Red Sea and Eritrea, you find a dictator cutting his own people. Yet they are the same. Leaving millions of younger men crossing over, walking through the Sahara to Mediterranean Sea. There is a man around there. We are the same. How do we protect this life in Africa?
Yes, indeed. I think Africa has been known for a very long time to be very rich when it comes to culture. But of late, you can see that we are really striving to catch up with what we deem to be civilization. And in the essence, we lose. I think we've lost who we are in that. And of course, civilization has come with its own other cousin called liberalization. So people are very liberal. We become too liberal, and we are trying to, and we're very good in the continent. We're very good in copying and pasting some cultures that we don't even understand, some things that we don't even know their origin. And so I think in an ever-growing society, and in a bid to fit in the global, in the bigger global village, we sort of forgetting ourselves, and we lean more towards what we deem to be more civilized, more new cultures, and more changing world, and we consider that to be, I don't know, civilized. But in the process, we've completely lost ourselves. So Africans, we find ourselves very, very confused. We don't know. Do we go back to our cultures the way it were, or do we embrace these new ideas and culture from the other side of the world? And so we just left there confused.
Exactly, Miriam, and that is the topic that we are going to engage ourselves in after your presentation of African news. But before you present, I want to leave this to the audience. Raila Odinga was addressing a conference of the All Africa Organization of Trade Unions, Pan-African organization that embraces all African trade unions in Nairobi. He said one significant thing, and this is the thing that he said, that Africa has several control towers. Before you reach Cairo, you have to talk to Khartoum to allow you. You have to talk to Juba. You have to communicate to Entebbe. You have to communicate to Asmara, Addis Ababa, because you are on the route. In case the plane is not working, you have to communicate. Whereas in Europe, the central pillar of communication is based somewhere in Zurich, around Switzerland.
They only have one communication.
One communication center in France, I think, north of France, which is south of Switzerland, around there. The plane is sighted as it touches the European soil. As soon as it crosses the Mediterranean border of Africa, where Africa ends. Don't think Africa ends on Tripoli or Tunisia or Algeria. It has its border where it doesn't infringe on Italy, France, and the rest, and Spain. We have that problem. So this is the problem that we have. So let's come back and look at that topic. He said we have several control towers, but in Europe we have one. Why is traveling in Africa very expensive? Recently I went to Zimbabwe. When I looked at my ticket, I almost tried to cry tears. Thanks very much for the system in Zimbabwe to have bought that ticket for me. Otherwise, if it was myself, I would have not bought it. I smiled at the money and the...
Which airline?
Of course, I travel in one airline. Don't try me.
KQ.
KQ, I've told you that before.
but KQ sometimes has been known to be very exorbitant. I don't know why.
No, it is.
It is.
It is exorbitant to reach Harare.
But also it's, I think,
and it is cheaper
to
reach Addis Ababa.
It's cheaper to reach Addis Ababa.
Yes.
It's just next door.
Next door.
But
the cheapest flight on Kenya Airways is in Addis Ababa.
Okay.
You can go for 40,000, 42,000. You are $400.
Is that return or just one
return?
Way? Okay, fair enough.
But when I looked at the ticket, thank you very much, the people of Zimbabwe, the respect you gave me, and you got it for me. But when I looked at it, I wish I would have plucked the dollars out of it. And you know, I'm a real African. I would have taken these dollars and gone away with it. Mm-hmm. But because of the air transport, which is very difficult, the control towers, you have to pass it through Tanzania, Malawi, Mozambique. And at times, to some stage, even call upon South Africa that I am about to pass near Limpopo. Mm-hmm. So help me, oh God, in case there is a problem, alert you, I might come that side. So this is becoming very difficult for Africa. But that is a topic we shall engage. I always wanted to engage it because His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Kenya, touched it in his talk, which he has just done a few minutes ago. Congratulations, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga, for the efforts of making Africa a united unit. Congratulations, Atwoli, a Pan-African station like me. I cannot give you kudos. I've given you kudos. To hold a conference of that nature. Mm-hmm. It means we are seeing where we are going. Yes, therefore, Miriam, over to you for African news headlines. God bless.
And indeed, Ibrahim Rashid Abdi, you're saying who cast Africans who told them for you to be civilized, you have to copy white culture, especially the bad ones. Yeah, I know. We copy-paste everything without even really looking at the genesis of some of these things that we borrow from abroad, and we come here and try to infuse it into our culture, and in essence, we lose who we are. Keep writing to us, and we'll continue with this conversation. But right now, I'd like us to just get to know what is really happening in Africa this morning. We start with Tunisia, where Tunisia's ousted leader, Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali, has died in Saudi Arabia. His family lawyer has told journalists he was 83 years old and he was overthrown in 2011. That is what sparked the Arab Spring. Ben Ali was forced to flee the country during the popular uprising, which triggered the Arab uprising, and he came to power in 1987. He had ousted Habib Bourguiba to become Tunisia's second president. And we go to Tunisia. Also still in Tunisia, once again, Nabil Karoui will have to convince Tunisians to vote for him in the second round of the presidential election from his prison cell. Nabil remains in detention after the court rejected his request for release on Wednesday. The media tycoon was arrested on 23rd August for money laundering and tax evasion 10 days before the start of the campaign. Karoui's candidacy was validated by the election organization body. And we go to Zimbabwe, where government hospitals in Zimbabwe have started turning away patients as a strike by doctors and nurses drags on. Negotiations have been held up by the disappearance of the strike leader, Peter Gabriel Magombei, whom fellow health workers believe was arrested or abducted by security forces. For much of Thursday, the entrance of Parirenyata Hospital in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe's biggest hospital, was turned into a place of protest and to address journalists. No patients are being treated at the facility. And South Sudan President Salva Kiir has threatened to form a unity government without opposition leader Riek Machar if he does not return to the country soon. He gave the warning during prayers being hosted at State House in the capital Juba to mark 1 year since the signing of the peace deal. The agreement, which ended a 5-year civil war that killed tens of thousands of people, forced millions from their homes and devastated the economy, sets a November 29 deadline to set up a joint government. And still in South Sudan, and a large array of international players, including corporate giants in the United States and China, have profited from South Sudan's long civil war, according to a report by Washington-based watchdog group The Sentry, which reports on links between corruption and mass atrocities in Africa, charged in its report released on Thursday in London that several businesses, owners, and corporate entities engaged in widespread government-sanctioned corruption, leading to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of South Sudanese during the civil war. And Nigeria's army has closed down the activities of an international aid organization which it accuses of aiding Boko Haram militants in the northeast of the country. It says action against hunger has been supplying the Islamist insurgents with food and drugs. The non-governmental organization has denied the allegations. And of course, more than 300 Nigerians arrived in the country's commercial capital Lagos on Wednesday, having been evacuated from South Africa following the recent wave of xenophobic attacks. And we go to Tanzania, where Tanzanians should protect Burundian refugees fleeing widespread abuses instead of requiring them to return to Burundi against their will. This is according to Bill Frelich, a refugee rights director of Human Rights Watch. Tanzania authorities have announced a plan to send 183,000 Burundian refugees in Tanzania back to Burundi by the end of 2019. And Kigali on Wednesday welcomed the killing of a Rwandan Hutu rebel leader in the Democratic Republic of Congo and said it proved neighboring President Felix Tshisekedi's commitment to fighting negative forces. Sylvester Mudakumura, a commander of the Democratic Forces of the Liberation of Rwanda, who was wanted by the International Criminal Court on war crime charges, was shot dead Tuesday night. And South Sudan and Kenya have signed an agreement that grants citizens of both countries free visa. The deal, which was signed last week, allows South Sudanese to travel to Kenya without paying for visa. Kenyans, on the other hand, will not be required to pay for visa beginning next month. And we go to Cameroon, where delegations from the Cameroon have been dispersed in parts of Europe, America, and the continent to discuss the Cameroonians and the peace deal, and Cameroonians to get their views ahead of national dialogue that President Paul Biya called for weeks ago. The delegation has a tough task of convincing Ambazonia separatists to take part in the major national dialogue, which holds at the end of the month. 2 years ago, delegations sent by the government of Cameroon to dialogue with Cameroonians in the diaspora led to ugly scenes in Belgium, South Africa, Canada, and the United States. And we end with Biafra, where leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on Thursday petitioned the United Nations and its relevant agencies over alleged human rights abuses suffered by its people at the hands of the Nigerian government. A statement signed by the IPOB's Media and Publicity Director, Emma Powerful, hinted that there was hope that the UN and officials in Geneva are giving adequate attention to the various human rights abuses allegedly perpetrated against members of the group. And so we'll just talk about that much later. But that is the latest here from the continent. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. I am Miriam Ogutu.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Miriam Ogutu. Thank you for that precise, accurate, summarizes Tanzania sending back Burundian refugees.
Is it a good move? Because Tanzania is insisting there's peace in Burundi, you go back to your country.
Well, of course, Tanzania took over Burundi.
Tanzania took over Burundi.
Yes, in a military coup. Africans forget so fast. A proxy war is around the region. And I am always very honest. You see, when you come to my show, get a pen and write.
So is this a passive-aggressive move by Tanzania?
Yes. It wants to buttress the situation by saying, you go home. It wants to tell France that there is peace. We don't need these guys here. You remember the coup took place in Burundi?
2015.
We have never said how the coup was removed.
Is that why Burundi dismissed efforts by former Tanzania President Benjamin Mkapa, who was leading the mediations there, and they refused?
The coup took place in Burundi. Some forces came and took over, removed this general who was in the television station, announcing that he had taken over from Nkurunziza and installed Nkurunziza. Since then, Nkurunziza does not move out of that kitchen, the toilet, the playground, the football is in the house. And the Africans have forgotten. I am the one who has shouted here for the 1 year that there is a proxy war around the East African region. Now, people who thought that I was a madman are asking, foreign intelligence systems are asking, what is this? There is a proxy war here. Don't you see it? Don't you see it? Uganda, Burundi, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi.
Tanzania now.
Tanzania? No. Burundi, not with Tanzania. Rwanda, South Africa. They don't see eye to eye. Then Congo, DRC, Congo. Uganda, DRC, Congo, Rwanda.
It's
the only safest country around here which plays quiet because we make noise here.
It's Kenya.
Yeah, they would have done it here. I'm telling you, that country would have caused chaos here. There is a country in Europe that is not very good. That same country has left Nigeria in chaos. The Biafrans are being slaughtered because of Total Oil. Why don't you talk the truth? They said, have you heard the report you have just given? You say, I don't lose anything you say. You said in South Sudan,
yes,
external countries gained a lot from the conflict in South Sudan.
And do you know who prepared this report?
Yes.
George Clooney and Prendergast.
Thank you. George Clooney and the Prendergast of Enough Project prepared the report. But who benefited more? Total Oil. Hello. I've been telling people every day here, and they think this Ugandan is mad. I am not mad.
And also giant corporate companies in the United States and China.
They came this way. Miriam, they arrived after losing in South Sudan. Total Oil made a point, a very clear point that we have lost, we have found nothing that we came to look for. So we are here in Kenya. I raised the red flag. I told my Kenyan friends here, comrades, both publicly and privately, that as soon as you give France the Total Oil, what they are looking for in Ngamia 1, can I ask you, is there any more cattle rustling in Capedo Triangle?
Not that we...
Where has it gone?
About.
Why is meat so expensive, so cheap in Kenya, and very expensive in London? Who is manning the problems of Capedo Triangle? How many NGOs that are funded by a certain non-African state party that are in Capedo Triangle? Niambie, So when they arrived here, they said, we want, now this is a country that it says, we can help you to build the lap set from Lamu up to Lokichang, or whatever you call it, up there in that place, good place of Turkana, so that you can tap the Ugandan oil through Hoima, bring it to Lochiga, transport it to there. It's easier, more convenient, no insurgency, no problem. They turned around and they left Uganda with the mouth open and dry. They left Kenya with the mouth even worse open. Flies were coming in. They said that is impossible to open up that thing. This country abandoned the project that would benefit so many Kenyans. In that region where the pipeline passes, houses are built, development begins, shelters begin, settlement, because it is a vast arid land. We could have got, wherever you check, there would be development, there would be an airfield, there would be airfield, airspace. We get, that's development, that's employment to the local people. They left, abandoned us.
But Total right now, I think, had a contract with the Ugandan government in the Uganda's oil. It's very much there.
They have gone. That's why Uganda is still.
But there'll be some wrangles.
Why Uganda is still the way it is. But if you look at the geopolitical intelligence system behind what is happening in Uganda, why the United States can single out one general friend of mine, Kaihura, my OB, single him out, take him out, and put sanctions on him. Have you seen how things are working? And that's the United States. But the European Union are saying, we don't have that evidence for us to single him out. All what the United States has done is they wanted to, in fact, if I were President Museveni, I would not go to the UN General Assembly. Because these sanctions were aimed at him. General Kaihura is not the last commander. And His Excellency President Museveni must be very careful because they are moving slowly. They will come for the last man. The last criminal responsibility of any types of heinous crimes lie with the commander-in-chief.
Which is the president.
I am telling you, Your Excellency President, I always say the truth. I have nothing wrong against anybody. We shook hands, but I'm telling you, this is George Clooney and this other man, Pendergast. Have you seen the report they are writing?
But there's some truth in that report.
I told you. And when the Total Oil came here to say, what? We missed.
So these people benefited so much in the civil war that has been going on.
So you tell me why?
So they're the architects of this.
Exactly. I wanted your word. I wanted your word. I got it.
But yes.
They went and caused the chaos between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir in order to get this confusion. Tell me how Riek Machar was able to escape on a helicopter in a place where I walked. I drove for 14 hours on a Land Rover, behind the Land Rover, returning to Juba from Rikwamba. Tell me. And that's the truth. There you are. So, who was doing all these logistics? Now you see now, Riaka says he's not coming.
No, he's not said, but South Sudan president just threatened at former unity government without opposition leader Riek Machar if he does not return to the country soon. He gave the warning during prayers. They were marking the first anniversary of the handshake that happened last year. Why are they even marking the anniversary? Were the things that they were supposed to do, to accomplish within that 1 year, they failed to do that. Why are they even marking this anniversary of the handshake?
Can I tell you?
From last year.
You want me to say it?
And this threat, what will it do to the already fragile situation in South
Sudan? Can I say it?
Yes.
I told you that November is approaching very fast. This gun will not come.
But he has not said he's not going to come.
No, but if Salva Kiir says
So
he wants to form a government, and a united government while you are in Juba makes these things work faster.
But how can he form a united government without
Riek still has reservations.
Who's a key player?
I know Mr. Riek very well. I know His Excellency Dr. Riek Machar Tenyi, my good friend. I know what is making him not come. I wish IGAD could contact me. I'm the only one who can talk to him to get out of that place. I know why. And those IGAD people watching me, watch me.
They
Put me on. I will get him out of that Juba.
They refuse to lift the sanctions.
They don't want.
Freely, yeah.
You have put him under house arrest again. You are doing a wrong thing.
What is the fear of just letting him be free to move around, especially in
he will not
countries?
appear. If there is a man who knows Dr. Riek Machar, is this speaking? Is this man here? Dr. Riek Machar is an academic. Makiu is an engineer by profession. Very good engineer, not from these cheap universities in the United States. His engineering was done in Birmingham. Very senior engineer. He can construct a road.
He should come back and construct.
No, wait. Let me go down with you.
So he did
and Riek Machar is my friend for many years. He's a man who doesn't want lies. He's a straightforward guy. He says it as it is.
And Salva Kiir is what? Playing games?
No, I don't want to describe the head of state. Because tomorrow he might refuse me entry.
We must describe both of them. So
I will go.
We see where the problem
is. No,
is.
I want to describe the man I know very well. Because we have about how many minutes? We have 90 minutes.
Yes.
Before we switch on to the main topic of behavior in Africa, how our children are behaving, and what is happening. Why are there too many murders? Women killing husbands, husbands killing women. That's the topic of today. So look at this. Dr. Riek Machar can talk the whole night, non-stop. He's like a coin. Coin can talk for 9 hours without drinking water.
So he's a good orator. Or just,
oh my God. 9 hours. So Dr. Riek Machar is a man, when he wants his thing done, he says, now, we negotiated the whole night. From 8 o'clock, we ate lunch inside the negotiating team hall in Juba Ra up to the following morning at 8. And he only allowed us to go and shower and enter the flight with guards, and pushed us on a helicopter, 4 helicopters of United Nations, to go in the jungle to look for Mr. Kony and a group. You tell me when you reach there, the eyes, you want to close them, you can't close. And when the helicopter drops you, you have to walk 40 miles. Luckily enough, those small boys could carry me. The 6 of them, they carry me. They walk like animals. Within 1 hour and a half, we have reached.
You have to walk all that long?
Yes, 40 kilometers. Where I walked, the size was not this. I walked until, this is an exercise for me.
I don't need that.
And some people who were saying they were slim, they fell on the way. But because I was the chairman of the delegation, when I feel my head, my suitcase and everything, my briefcase must be carried by the men. So they got a stretcher to carry me. Not even a stretcher for sickness, but quickly to move with me. So when you tell Riek that, please, why can't we have a rest? Riek never allowed us a rest. That is the day I knew this man Riek
means business.
Business. And today, the only man who knows him very well is me. And I've been telling people here on this television station that if you don't do this, this guy will not come. Now, IGAD is saying they have put sanctions on him. I want IGAD to ask, where have you put the sanctions on him? Where? From Khartoum. You have a problem, baby. You have your own problem. You are killing South Sudan.
So they would have put for him sanctions in Juba, not in Khartoum.
In Khartoum. So where he's staying, never to come, not to move out. He has to move out with permission of the government of Khartoum or escorted by officials. Then what type of negotiations are these?
But if he's
I'm always honest.
If he's a flight risk, then that...
No, I am honest. It's like putting Riek Machar in South Africa in a hotel and detaining him there.
They detained him for a very long time.
Yes. What then you want peace to return to South Juba? The whole thing of South Sudan, and let me say this because time is running, we have 5 minutes. The whole thing of South Sudan, if you have done it wrongly, and I want to say here, to be on record as an African, as a man who started the conflict resolution in Africa, I want to state categorically that it was wrongly done. You have negotiated a political settlement, not a humanitarian settlement.
So that will not address the root problems of what made South Sudan to be where
not accountability.
There's no accountability.
Yes.
That should be the bedrock, at least one of the most important.
The bedrock of any negotiation must be accountability. That's why these stupid men called Kulune and the Pentecost are just laughing at these Africans. You know what? I don't want to be laughed at. At least me and the Bazungu. In fact, if Muzungu is laughing at me, I box him. Namupiga ate kwa pub. Don't laugh at me. Yes, in Muzungu, you don't come and laugh at me unnecessarily. Because I studied the subject of a conflict resolution expert. I can see why you are laughing at me.
Then you should engage those skills, not fighting.
No, because you see Pentecost and the Kuluni are laughing at us. They say, what are they doing? These are useless Africans. They are right. Because we have negotiated the wrong thing. IGAD is negotiating a political settlement, not accountability settlement. You can see the difference. Let's first sort the accountability bit of it. 384,000 people perished. Where are they? Who killed them? How were they killed? What action has been taken to reinforce the agreement, the political agreement? You must have those answers. The point here is we are mixing those who killed with those who didn't kill. It is like mixing water with oil.
They can't mix.
It's like putting a new cloth on an old cloth. It will tear it. Let's first get who are the people, what do they want? Let's put a reconciliation, truth-telling, accountability at the forefront. Then come to political settlement. At this moment, in Sudan, we have not healed anything. Petty. You see what we did for us?
Healing is not even part of their agenda.
Wait. What we did for us in Uganda, so that you pick it nicely. We got five agenda. Agenda number 1, ceasefire. But as we cease the fire, we now go into the smaller problems to find out what happened. Who was responsible for abductions, both UPDF and the LRA. Put them, the areas of who did what, where. Let the people start, separate the two armies. Then within the LRA accepted that children can go home. Children can go home. Some children we don't know can go home. Those who want to go home, go home. Is there anything there? When the people are saying they have 126,000 people and they are recruiting more.
And more children.
Yes, there is no ceasefire.
Very, very
so you can't negotiate a political settlement when there is no ceasefire. 2, look at Sudan. Accountability. The only thing that can make this whole thing work, if there was someone who had, there was a tribunal. What did Salva Kiir say? Salva Kiir hired another American mercenary.
It must be one of the people that are
by name is the one causing this.
Yes.
By name called Rainburger. Rainburger wanted to take Uhuru and Ruto and lock them for life in The Hague. This is the man you give $1.3 million. Give it to me. I will help you. I will go in Khartoum and sit and eat mutton 2 days with Riek. We eat mutton and talk and say, Riek will send me and say, Matanga, go and test these waters. I will come. I will solve. I don't know where Kalonzo is. I don't know why Kalonzo is not utilizing me. That's another problem here in this country and in East Africa. They underrate their own professors. They want to, you will find that Kalonzo is hiring a white man like a Kuluni running with him in a plane instead of running with Dr. Matanga. I would help them. Riaka will be there. Riaka will come. Because we have not separated, we have not guaranteed his safety. The guys still have, they worry. There are things. Riaka himself is a mediator, mark you. He has seen all these tactics as a mediator. He's not going to accept to enter a hole where he's locked. We saw all this during the LRA Uganda peace talks. I was there with Rugunda, with Chisano, with Salva Kiir, with Chikwete. All these people were there. They used to come to rescue us. There's a time I told Riak, we are going away from this place. You are a very bad man. Until you say, hey, Matanga, cool down. You are not living here. Where will you live? You have no help, no plane. I am telling you, he told me he will throw me out of the plane if I refuse to go to Uganda.
Oh, Machar.
Yes. They said they will open the door and they throw me in the forest of Congo. This is a man you have to handle very properly. It was not a joking matter. We had a quarrel in the plane. Why are you taking me to Uganda when Museveni is not willing to meet me today? Museveni is not there. Why are we going to stay in Uganda for 80 days waiting for this man? Let him do the peace process. I have separated the troops. I have taken the troops there. They have gone away. They are no longer killing people in Eastern Equatoria. The road is open. I've done the donkey work. They can enjoy. But why are you taking me to this place now? He said, Matangi, you said this again, we open the door and throw you. Then I said, the plane also will come down. All of it. In the Jetlink plane, we had a very big argument inside there. What are we going to do in Kampala? Because I had already got a window through my systems that the Americans are going to hit Kony. I got it. I've been in this struggle since 1978. I cannot fail to have people who can whisper to me. I got to the window. I kept quiet in my heart. And up to today, I've never God. You get the point? But Riak is not a man going to move from there to come to Juba if you don't assure him of one thing he has wanted.
Security.
Yeah. He's not, we are in chaos.
And I think that is a very
I wish
bit.
IGAD just for a week walked along with me. We could do miracles. But man, you have here ministers of foreign affairs in these countries of IGAD. They think they were educated on Mars or Moon. Some of us were educated in which is the worst planet?
On Earth.
On Earth, yes. So when you tell them, they know everything. Oh, what does that Ugandan man say? Yes, he's stupid. They call me stupid. You call me stupid. You call me stupid when I started washing my toilets of white people in London. And I studied hard. I was not given a scholarship by stupid George Soros who loaned us money. You call me stupid, my blood calls you so many things. I'm telling you, my blood is not a blood that you can harass every day like that. Watch. Those who have tried to harass me are not here. Yes. So you look at, they don't want to listen. You tell IGAD members that please, let's do this, they say no. Let's do this, they say no. Let's do this, they say no. So here we are.
Here we are, and I know we want to get to our topic, but can we just touch on Cameroon and Biafra just quickly, and then we can come to our topic of the day. We still seem to have some time. President Paul Biya, of course, a couple of weeks ago, he said he wants to start a national dialogue, and yesterday, over this week, he's been busy sending delegations to reach out to Ambazonians who are spread across the world. I don't know how he's going to do that.
He's sending what?
A delegation from Cameroon.
Is that the way peace is done? You have been killing children. You have not done a ceasefire. You have nobody monitoring whether children have returned to school. For 4 years, the children of Amazonia have never gone to school. This stupid man called, this guy called what? What is his name?
Paul Biya.
Paul Biya. And now he sends delegation. That's waste of Cameroonian money. Why are you wasting your money sending? Which of these Amazonians are going to accept? Come on, wake up, Africa, Jamen. Wake up, Africa. There's no Cameroonian, there's no Amazonian going to listen to Biya.
Especially when the leaders are still...
Why can't you do what we call redemption actions?
Oh, by the way, you did not hear part of Atwoli's speech. He said he's the one who introduced the redemption and the handshake idea to the government, but by the way... That's
okay.
Yes.
Atwoli is my friend. He talks like me. So he can take it. But in writing, I've written very good things. I want to see. By the way, there is another thing that Utaguzi, what is it called? For the governors.
For the governors?
Yes. There is a referendum bill for the governors. Ukaguzi.
Ukaguzi.
Yes, I think I know my Kiswahili. Ukaguzi.
Ugatuzi. Ugatuzi is devolution.
Devolution, yes. They have brought. And do you know, guess what? The one of Ugatuzi is, if you see what? Exactly, everybody talks in the same way. Expanded executive with sweeping powers of a prime minister. So now let me tell you why
everybody it as the other fraction of the political, are they included? Or by everybody? What do you mean everybody is excited about? I'm sure there's somebody who is having a headache about this exclusion and expanded executive.
Yes, you can't. These are governors. And the governors are the ones who are going to make this thing go through. If you don't listen to them, they will fail you. I told you, you cannot touch the setup of a constituency and you survive. Impossible. That you cut this constituency. Okuro Court, he made good money. He can buy another house from George Soros' pocket. But that thing will not go anywhere. So, Cameroon, Biafra. The situation in that region is a terrible situation that we need to look at very effectively. But the sending of envoys across the world to look for Amazonians will not bring.
Because Amazonians are all over the place.
They are
all over
not.
the world.
First of all, cease fire.
How many will they
Stop killing them. Open the schools. Allow internet. Allow everything.
Release their leaders.
Release their leaders. You have jailed these men for life. Then you are sending out people to go and look for. It's useless.
It's nonsensical.
Nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Who said it? Nonsense. Not me.
All right. So the leader of IPOB, that is Nnamdi Kanu, yesterday petitioned the United Nations and its relevant agencies of alleged human rights abuses suffered by its people at the hands of the Nigerian government. And of course, Kanu yesterday said he's been meeting with the United Nations officials in a series of meetings for various United Nations agencies and officials in Geneva. And in a statement that was sent by his public person, he said he demanded an urgent action against the numerous rights abuses inflicted daily upon Biafrans and the need to support the undeniable rights of Biafrans to self-determination as enshrined in the law, the statutes and various UN conventions. And the case of Ruga settlement, this is still a big deal to Kanu that he wants to be addressed. You know, the Ruga settlement, Fulani was supposed to sort of form some villages for the pastoralists across the country. So the Ruga settlement, he's saying that in doubt that Biafrans will never allow Fulani settlements in Biafra land. He's made that very, very clear. And also he continued to say that he also raised the issue of the continued illegal detention of Omoleye Sawore. I'm sure Biafrans, you know who that is. And the relentless persecution of the members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria led by Sheikh Al-Zakazi and ongoing tragic ethnic cleansing. So he is just, he presented a huge number of problems that he believes that the Nigerian government is perpetuating towards not only Biafrans but also other marginalized communities there in Nigeria. So Kanu is making inroads, and soon and very soon he'll be giving a speech at the United Nations. I'm sure.
He's moved on. He's made his case. He's a uniting factor for the most of the Biafrans, and that is very good way forward. We know very well that Biafra suffers. They have suffered the killings, the maiming, the slaughter of their people, the mistreatment of the younger men. It still goes on. Africa needs to look at that point of Biafra and Cameroon. Those two areas are the hot potato of the ECOWAS. Just as like this terrible Somalia here is the hot potato for the grid.
Somalia, is it really terrible?
Yes, it is.
It's a wonderful neighbor.
It's the one, it can't be a neighbor who turns on you
Who turns on
and wants to kill.
That is, they should rectify
But
that.
great news came from One for Africa before we conclude and turn on our topic. Finally, the great news came from Zimbabwe. Doctor who was missing was found somewhere away from in Mashonaland in a forest and with his phone. So Zimbabweans, those who gave information leading to the recovery of, because there were fears. But who is doing this in Zimbabwe? That's why his clothes, his telephone, his contacts must be preserved to international type of investigation. The people who came close to him, the DNA of the cloth, of the phone, those who touched him, if you have a dot of DNA, you can find out who the people abducted this doctor. But what was the purpose of abducting this doctor? the main thing behind abduction is aimed at tarnishing the name of the government as they go to the United Nations General Assembly to say sanctions are killing us. But America will say, hello, but you are abducting people. This guy has resurfaced. Thank you very much. God bless you for keeping him wherever he was. With his phone for 1 week still charged, given the electricity in
shortages and outages.
I was in Zimbabwe. You need to go to run. That's why I was not able to broadcast direct the news because of internet and the shortages of power. Power goes off at 4 a.m. and returns at night.
4 a.m.
Yes.
How am I supposed to make
breakfast? So you have to charge these things.
How am I supposed to make breakfast? 4 a.m. How am I supposed to have my shower? I mean, it's a terrible situation there. But also, he was very outspoken because, the doctors and the medical fraternity in Zimbabwe have been, having strikes, and he was one of the most outspoken. So that is why it is perceived that the government, because he was seen to be inciting the doctors, he was leading the union against the government. So that is why the doctors and that medical fraternity were perceiving that could be that maybe the government officials or somebody that is from the government must have abducted him.
It's not the government. The abduction has come from factions. There are factions within the government, and the factions within the rebels, and the factions within the opposition. Someone is setting up. You see, when someone goes around and say the board of Mugabe cannot, we paid all this huge money to bury this guy. We arrive there, the woman takes us around.
She was just honoring the husband's wishes. No?
Okay, fine.
The same way this lady here is trying to, honor word.
You love me so much in death when you did not even give me anything. In life.
But Grace took care of Mugabe.
What about Mugabe took care of Grace?
Protected her thoroughly.
Yes.
Right now
yes.
She's afraid. She's really
Mugabe took care of Grace.
Frightened, yeah.
Me, I could not speak there because that's why I kept low profile. I just went for the burial. I went to that stadium, sat down amongst the common people. Some of them, few knew me. I sat, I walked out. That was my wish, to be in Zimbabwe, in that soil, to see the hero of Africa, a man who inspired me to stand for him, and for me to be called, all the names have been called internationally because of Mugabe. The bad names that you see in the internet is because I defended Mugabe. So I decided to go and defend Mugabe. And then the woman took us for a very long ride. Papa, you have gone. Papa, but you have left me. I am here. There's one thing that I learned from Mugabe. Frankness. Frankness. Never do anything to me and tell me don't tell anyone. If it is wrong, I will say it. I have no reservations. That's why I'm telling you about Riek Machar. He's not coming. Those who want to listen, listen. Those who don't want to hell, go and transform yourself on a transformer and switch it on. I'm not bothered. He's not coming to Sudan. Let's look for some other ways. He's not coming to Juba. Riek will want to fight up to the end.
But if Salva Kiir continues with such threats, that will throws the spanner to the works even further.
Look,
Salva Kiir should make an ample.
Let me tell you, what will you give? Riek wants power.
Reassurance.
He wants power.
Of course, they both.
He's not going to give the sharing of this. Let's not lose the thread of Mugabe work. Look at the change. The group that is kidnapping And let Emerson hear me before he flies to the UN General Assembly. Those watching for Emerson, watch my lips. The group that is kidnapping this is an internal mechanism group made of the former intelligence officers, former police, those disgruntled, that wanted the government of Zimbabwe to be punished. Linked up with the current people working within there who tell them what to do. They knew that the UN rapporteur was going to be in Zimbabwe today. So you took this small doctor.
So it's not a coincidence.
It's not. It's an organized crime syndicate.
It's an organized crime syndicate.
Yes, by men within and without. And they plus these loud-mouthed guys on Twitter. These are tactics. Guerrilla war tactics, warfare on Emerson Mnangagwa.
That reminds me of the same war that is happening now in Saudi Arabia. Apparently, their oil fields, refineries were bombed, and now they directly blaming Iran. And Houthi rebels has come out and said, no, we are the ones who did it. And U.S. was very quick to get Pompeo to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Crown Prince. And you realize the U.S. has been trying to warm up to the Iran. And of course, you tell me,
which kidnapper today with the technology? The technology we have, which kidnapper can keep the phone on, and then he gives you back to call. If I am kidnapped today, the kidnapper would like to take, I don't want to be kidnapped, by the way, don't, please. I am an innocent guy. The kidnapper will take out the SIM card, leave it at point B, and take the handset, take it to point B. A. They can't move with the same, because the phone, Econet, can use international agency to find the location of this phone. It's very easy, politics. Very easy. What we are doing here, we are dealing with international system of the vanguard Africa. Hey, that Muzungu called Jeffrey Smith, that's a very deadly guy. He's gonna cause those Zimbabwe problems. They don't know how, they don't want, you know the problem with Zimbabwe, everybody is going to school. They compete to wear suits, you know. You talk to them, they say, I know this one. Please, you don't know. This is a world warfare. Someone is trying to fight President Emerson Mnangagwa by showing him that you are a bad man as you go to UN. Simple. Because a telephone here would actually make this place very, very acceptable. You can easily find Mr. X, whatever he is. Very easy.
Why didn't the government help in tracking him then? Because the government has those machineries and the technology to track a missing person.
That is if the phone.
If at all the government agencies.
No, if the phone was on.
But it was with him.
No, the phone was. That means the person left the phone. Then the person also called for his phone to be taken to him on the last day of recovery. After they have achieved what they wanted to achieve. Thank you very much, viewers. We come to our last topic, and we shall spend only 25 minutes on this topic. What do you think?
All right, no, it's okay. So what society...
can we go ahead?
Yes.
Or a rest?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Go ahead, yes.
Thank you very much, Miriam. The topic of today is a topic that is very interesting. It needs to be discussed by both us. You a parent, I am a parent. We grew up in different settings. I grew up in a strict Christian modality. I grew up that every night before going to sleep, I had to kneel down, get a Bible, read some verses, then sing a hymn. One of my best hymns in this whole saga was this hymn.
Why are you calling it a saga?
No, the one of this whole disciplinary action was this film. And this film says, and I will sing it in Uganda for the people in Uganda and those who know me to know that I grew up in a Christian family. It goes like this. Tewali munsi muno mulongofu songa tewali ba mugulu wabula bantu beyalongosa mumusai gwa Yesu munabe wabula tewali. This is the song that my father and my mother told me to sing every night.
So have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power?
Yes.
Have you washed with the blood of the Lamb?
I
Yes.
don't know in English.
That is the translation.
You can, Miriam is an expert on that, but she's not a singer.
I sing very well.
Yeah, then sing now.
I will not do it here, but I sing. I lead.
Why don't you sing the one verse?
I lead in church singing. So
Tewali muse muno mulongofu songa tewali ba mugulu wabula bantu beyalongosa mumusai gwa Yesu. It says in Uganda, in my language, that there is nobody who is pure on earth except those who are washed in Jesus' blood. So we grew up in that angle. Today, the children demand you a phone of $1,000. If you buy a phone that has no network, which in Kenya we say mulika muizi, the boy will throw it in a toilet or latrine. The children that we are bringing today, thanks God I don't want to produce anymore. I am done. I'm done. Kama iko kitu, titaonekana. Lakini I am done. Please, the children of today work on a shida. They have a problem. And Mutua, I want to thank Ezekiel Mutua. When Mutua was saying these things, people in Kenya harassed Mutua. They even removed a diplomatic passport from Mutua. Have you seen Mutua? Our boss, Mr. Mutua Ezekiel, was telling you these films, these things, this trouser, this tying here, this whatever, this piercing nose, head and wet, they pierce everywhere.
point your nose.
We have a problem.
Our ears.
And we must address it as Africans. Does Africa need this? You find a very senior guy, he has pierced everywhere. They pierce everywhere. They pierce. Even private parts are pierced. What type of life is this? What is it that you are adding on piercing things that God said they should not be pierced? And put earrings. What are you adding? What value? Hey. What value are you adding? Did Jesus say, pierce yourself, pierce? So now your child, you take off the cloth and the child sees the pierce everywhere. You know, the ring is here. Say, mommy, what is that ring? These are children growing in the home, no? We are the problem ourselves. We are the problem. That's why we have this problem. And I hope shouting for nothing. Second strand of a problem is this question of radio stations. Maina Kagagad, Siji Maina Kageni, Titiro. Fact, these are very bad people. Their morning sessions in television, on radio stations, are very bad. And some of these people who don't have children, but they want to lecture to us. Hey, wewe, unapigia simu kutoka wapi? Hey, mambo gani hiyo ilifanyika? Walikuwa namna gani? You are with your children, driving them to school. In Africa, you are in Abuja, driving children to school in the morning. Somebody has put on a sex program talking about sex. In your house, in your car. I grew up very well where some things like that, my father would not even talk about sex. You know, the first time I knew about sex was I was in senior secondary school, number 3.
From 3.
Yeah, senior 3. A third year in a senior secondary school in 1972. Where were you? That's when I knew about something called sex. I didn't know. Because my grandmother was very strict. My mother was, even to look at the girl like this, like, look here. She has passed. Caned. Just go on the floor. Ulikuwa naangalia nini? We have left our children, even to, you know, do you know that a 12-year-old boy wants to seduce a big lady in a supermarket? Mom, did you know that?
I've heard stories of that kind.
Not heard the stories, they are here. You know, 12-year-old, big, these ones who run with skating. You find them in the supermarkets with skating, and the parents are very happy. Oh, my son knows how to skate my foot. My son, oh, Jimmy knows how to skate. You know, we African parents have this bad thing here now. Oh, he knows how to skate very well. You are now telling other women that you mekutana kwa restaurant. Hey, Jimmy, this day skates very well. Was there skating in Africa?
But what's wrong with skating if it's not?
There we are.
My son skates and he loves skating, but he just skates at home and
that's controlled.
Yeah, at home. That's
yes. Yeah. Let him grow. He comes to about 13, 14. If you are lucky, you have a heavy hand. When you see something wrong, you say no. We have no control over our children. We don't control them. We don't know what they have done. We don't know where they have been. You don't know what they intend to do. You don't know which woman is admiring your child, or the man who is admiring your daughter. Our parents grew up. We grew up when they were strictly saying, you admire my daughter, I will beat you up. I will come and, no, because you want to spoil my daughter. I will fight for my daughter. I will fight for my son. Now, that's the category of the television, of the radio. In the radio media also has played a role. Technology has played a role. Most parents now prefer, what is this thing, the way they get, you know, you find grown-up parents in cars on these roads stopping to buy pornographic CDs.
That's all on the roads?
Oh, yes.
The whole ones who hook.
Oh yes, am I wrong?
I've never known that.
Am I wrong? Drive on Uhuru Highway. Drive on this road going. People will come with, they are hidden here. He said, Mzee, Nunua, you'll enjoy. And the parents buy these CDs. In front of the children. The children are in the car. He said, hiyo inacheza mzuri namna gani? Hiyo ako kazuri. Nitafutie kazuri. This boy is listening. This daughter of yours is listening. What is the kazuri? Another one would ask, the daughters will ask, Baba, what is kazuri? Hiyo nini ulinunua? Those are things that lead to this temptation. We kiss each other nowadays like we are like a bazungu. Kissing was not meant to be public affair in Africa. Kissing was for wazungu. Why bazungu kiss each other in public is they have social security income. They get money. They can waste 1 hour kissing in the gardens and go to the post office to get money. You tell me one African country that pays people who don't work, but they kiss from 8 o'clock up to 10 o'clock. Kissing. We have imported a habit of kissing in public in Africa. Your father is there, your mother is there, or you start hammering kisses. Hey, kuja night. Oh, kuja Jen. Jen. And the parents themselves laugh. Oh, these children have grown up. Yeah, me. You don't kiss me and me. We have allowed that behavior. It is killing Africa. Kissing is for white people in Europe and America. Kissing is not for black people. We use not to kiss in Africa.
Is it the kissing that is a problem, or where it is done that is the problem, or when it is
both? Both.
Because I think kissing is just a way of expressing.
Expressing what, Miriam?
It's just a way of expressing what
liking.
I don't know. Yeah.
Can't there be liking privately?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think the kissing is the problem. Maybe
but you have now seen
it's where it's done.
We in some countries like South Africa, black people walking straight in kissing each other.
Even here, depending on which
even in Kenya,
which state you go to.
Yes, they are kissing daytime instead of going to do something constructive to add 1 shilling to the economy. They are hammering with their trousers in the knees that they are walking to show us that they have love. Is there no other place for love?
I think it's just one of the expressions of intimacy, and if you're doing it with the right
person
at the right time, then I don't.
Miriam, show me the expression of intimacy.
Kissing is one of.
Does it mean if you don't kiss, you don't have sex? You can have sex without kissing. Was there sex before? Was there kissing before? Kissing is a new thing for Africa, but brought from Britain, America, and elsewhere. In Saudi Arabia, you can't kiss on the streets. In the United Arab Emirates, while we are being chased out, we took the habits there.
You took the kissing there?
Yes, we Ugandans and the Nigerians. Bad manners, we took them there. We have now just bad manners again. Uganda and Africans, we carried bad manners to China. We are now being told in China, some hotels, we can't book there.
Why?
Because of this bad manners of even kissing publicly. In China, remember the restriction was 1 man, 1 child. For us, we have gone to China, and we want even to impregnate Chinese at a high rate. And then how do you control the children when you are impregnating 10 Chinese? Tell me, yes, I have a Ugandan who is in China who has already got 6 children. Now, 6 children from different Chinese women. Well, how are you going to control them? When all of them arrive in Kampala. This is the truth. And let the truth be told. We have bad manners ourselves. We don't look after the boy who put this video in Kenya. Mutua told you bad films. Someone went to court to accuse him. Someone went to court to make Mutua lose his passport. Because he just said, I don't care. I'm also African, I can travel on the diplomatic passport. The people, our people went on Twitter. They have a habit of going on Twitter. When these younger men now here, they say Ugandan is on Twitter. Miriam is very bad because you have said something which hurt them. They are here. They are here. Now you can see where we are headed. We have television stations broadcasting nothing but soap opera of kissing from Mexico.
Yeah, and I think Philippines. But also that you brought up that boy from Consolata School. Unfortunately, that was shared with me, I think, in one of the groups there. So I got a hold of it and I watched it. The end of the day, I was very sad because I think this is a child that is seeking for attention. This is a child that is hurting. This is a child that needs help. That is how I looked at it from a grown-up's perspective or a parent's perspective, because it's not okay. But I think that child needs help. Parents should come in and guide this child in a way that it should.
How do you need help? When the girl said, the man said he apologizes. Then after a few days,
he's a kid.
He went back.
He's a child.
And so what do we, where are the parents of this man?
That is what we should be asking. And we can sit here and blame the media all we want. We can sit here and blame whatever it is that they show us, because at the end of the day, I cannot sit here and say, okay, so now what is Lupita Nyong'o doing? why?
There is a complaint here from Sarah. Sarah! Come on, my sister. Gwenda, you can't say if you don't kiss me, which means you don't love me, my brother. And there are so many ways of kissing brother. Ah!
Yeah, like
which kissing is that?
On the cheek.
Ah!
Like when I meet with a lot of my male friends on the cheek. 3 times. I think it's a European way of
You see now? Even you, Miriam, you are saying 3 times.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's just hello.
In Africa, we just say hello. How are you? No, bring your hand. Let's show example. How are you, Miriam?
It's just
finished.
It's just hello.
Where did you get this thing of this 1, 2, 3 and this?
It's just hello. A gentleman.
Let's be very honest. We have
hello.
copied wrong things.
No, but I will.
This video in Kenya opens up a lot of Pandora box.
It opens up a lot of Pandora box, and also I don't want parents to get out of focus for this, because this squarely lies with the parents. You cannot blame bad behavior of your children to the television, to the programs they watch, to whatever that they're exposed to it. Parent your child. Lupita Nyong'o is not supposed to be the role model of your child. You as the mother, you're supposed to be the role model. You as the father. So what are you doing?
Now you are talking.
So we cannot escape the responsibility of us being parents, and we say it's because of this, that is why they turn out. No, you failed as your role as a parent. So that parent needs to get a hold of this child, and this child needs help. From my position as a mother, I think he's crying for help.
But and where is the mother?
I had stories. I don't know but I can't.
She abandoned.
No, she's there, but not. I don't know.
She can't come out now. It's too embarrassing. No, look here. Let's be very honest. And the kissing that African society, we were brought up in a community where parents were very strict.
Yeah. Where
parents even checked your bag when you come back from school.
Don't check my bag.
They did. Yeah, they did. Mine, they used. The parents could check
Yes.
If they find any small letter written by a girl to your bag, you have a punishment.
You have a case
We
to
were
answer.
brought up in such a situation, very strict. But the behaviors did not reach a proportion of today.
Because we
The proportion of today is the media, the telephone, the WhatsApp. Do you know Instagram? This boy has 6 different accounts of Instagram.
I didn't know.
How he registers in Instagram, God knows. Because Instagram should be able to check who is this. I think the best thing, one of the things that we should suggest, that Facebook must have your own picture. I think there is something which is very wrong here. And many countries in Africa must begin to be very strict on the social media.
So how can Facebook chaperone all these people
No,
across the world?
it could be a procedure. And that is how this Facebook is going to help and Twitter is going to help people. Anybody who puts a dog as a face, as a photograph on his Facebook should not be allowed to register.
Then they can download your photo from somewhere and just put
No,
it.
what we should do is this, is for anyone registering. You know, these companies, Facebook and Twitter, must begin to learn that they have brought something which is going to kill everybody in the world. It's not only here, even now in Britain. The only problem the good thing in Britain is that your phone is already, if you do these funny things on your phone,
Can be traced.
it will be tracked within a shortest time, and they will find you, they will fix you.
Even here.
But
Even here.
for Africa to safeguard itself, there are people who put a picture of monkeys, then start insulting you. So you don't know, the name is very clear, Miriam, but he has put a picture of a monkey.
I think bottom line, we have to go back. We have to trace our way back to where the rain started beating
We
us.
need a renaissance.
And we can sit here and blame the media and blame Facebook and all
So
this,
where did the
all
rain
the-
start beating us?
But because, as you said, even myself, I was brought up in a very strict family. My father was an army person, so discipline was a priority. So if I decide to raise a child who is in discipline, that is my choice. But so that is the problem. Parents were raised well, and then we want to raise a generation, and we fail to pass the values that was instilled in us. So that is where the disconnect is. So parenting, the bottom line, parenting is where we have to. That's where the buck stop.
Okay, thank you very much. Bottom line, parenting is where the buck stops.
Yeah.
Let's look at the mothers, the women slaughtering men, and the men slaughtering women. Of late, we have seen the rate of domestic killings,
Yes.
where a husband, a woman, and then we have the stereotype of people using tribe to say this tribe kills more. No, killing is for every humanity. Every human being has got that temperament of wanting to be annoyed and get annoyed, and some take their annoyance more. So you can't say it is the Luo who are only specialized in killing. Like the way this case, which we can't talk about
It's in
because
the
it has
courts.
been restricted, we can talk about any other cases.
Yeah.
There are several murder cases that you see now where they are generated out of property, out of
The love of
disagreement, out of knowing how much insurance your wife or your husband has.
Or basically dysfunctional relationships.
Yes.
And people insist on staying on. I'd rather be out there a single mother or whatever, but safe and sound, than one day I'm taken home in a coffin.
Yes.
I mean, I'd rather that struggle outside there instead of sitting in comfort that I'm not even enjoying. That will not make any sense. So I think it's a lot when you look at it. Comes in so many facets, the murders that we see nowadays and the abuses that comes from the marriages and relationships. And these cases, you look at them and it's shocking what is happening in our society today. But I think that we have to go back to the conversations, really. what is marriage? Has it lost even the glory? Because marriage used to be one of those institutions that was respected and revered. Nowadays, I'll just get in there. People come with different agendas in marriages, and love is no longer the thing that brings people together and companionship. There seems to be these other factors that people look at now. So I think even in Africa now, we'll have to start embracing things like prenuptial signings before you get married. If you've made enough money and somebody's coming into your life and you don't know the intentions, you'll be forced to sign prenups like what white people are doing. It will come to that point to safeguard yourself. Prenups, prenuptial agreements. Should we separate or divorce within this period of time? Then you're allowed to just have this much. You agree before you get married. So those are things that happen in.
Okay, is it good to open up?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Is it good to open up in a marriage? Everything you have.
To open up, it depends. If you feel that you cannot trust this person, but then maybe.
Is it
and
good?
Why would you?
Why
would you want to get?
For
married
example,
to
some
somebody
of
you
the
don't trust?
killings come as a result of
the wealth. Yes.
Wealth. If one sees the insurance of
the life insurance
of X, he increases the insurance. He says, if I take him away, I will be able to inherit this insurance. So is it good to kill and to expose yourself?
It depends. And if you're with somebody you feel you cannot expose yourself to, then don't be with that person. You should be with somebody you can trust. If you feel you have to hide some things from your spouse, then you are with the wrong person. Or you don't trust the intentions, leave that marriage. Before we pick your body from a river somewhere, leave at any earliest convenience. Yeah.
Is there any marriage? Is there any love anymore in Kenya?
There is. Not
or in
Kenya,
Uganda, Kenya? Is
the
there
world.
any love? Real love.
As in love is the motivating factor towards getting married. Or
yes. Is there any love?
There are people who
especially
love.
To the urban dwellers. Is there any love?
There is. We cannot
if you
rubbish
go,
the whole
is
thing.
there any woman out there who can love you and become very intimate without asking for money?
Yeah.
Where?
They are there.
I would like to see one.
I'm one of them.
No, but you are married already.
Even before that.
Yes,
I can say that. I can say that.
Let's
with
ask
authority.
serious questions. Is there any woman out there?
Because I'm a person who believes in
I'm
having their own.
Up to today, Miriam, I want to.
When I look at the money I have, I count the one I have in my bank account. I don't even care what is in the other side. I look at. So if it's not there, that makes me very unsafe. I want to be safe. I want to stand in my own feet. I'm that kind of a person, and a lot of my friends are like that. I have a friend who got married nowadays. She even bought the husband a car, taking care of this. So I know women who are out there, and she's there. We don't understand, why are you doing this? She loves this man. So there are women like that. So we cannot just rubbish.
Why is it that I have landed on wrong rock?
I will not even push that sentence. So I'll just leave it.
Men outside there, have you been bought a car?
I have a friend, she has. And right now, if you go to her place, I think that you find the man on shorts. He does not even go to work. Which is annoying. You find him asking for lunch now, just on shorts and the vest. And my friend, takes care of him, and he's very comfortable, which I think it's.
He gets out.
It's out of order.
He's on the remote control.
He's just there
in the sitting room,
asking for tea and soda. Yeah, and she loves him to death. So what do we have to say about that? So I think depends, but if you were in a situation you feel like you cannot be free. Yeah, there's love.
This is Sarah. It is okay. I don't think the women of today have not found one.
You can't, but you really.
Except my wife.
Yes, that's it. But if you
the rest
if you're
outside.
anything,
my wife, even when I make mistakes, she sees, she knows, she says that is now a silly mistake. That's the only one that I've found. But the rest of these guys now, wow.
Depends on what you're looking
for. No, honestly, you go to a club.
Or are you going to a club to look for a woman?
No. No, I am not. You have not. You have cut me short. You go to a club, you want to have a drink. Some of us go to the club not for women. We go to club because you are bored. You have worked so hard. You want, just as like you go to bowling.
Every now and then.
You go to bowling to relax your mind. Some of us go to dancing.
Okay.
We prefer dancing and listening
to music.
To music. And when you listen, we can call it a day.
Yes.
Our
systems seems to be acting up.
They have acted.
Yes. But
thank you very much. We won't say anything more than that. We know the problem, I think. And God bless you. Even if it loads back, I think let's just call it a day. Because I wanted to analyze the social structures. Are we on air?
I think we are. And I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for an
you know, Africa has no social structures. That's the problem we have. Africa has no social structure to fall back to. We used to have, Miriam, we used to have social workers, community workers going into the homes to check school nurses, school workers. We used to have them. We don't have them anymore. We don't have. There are no nurses, no school nurses, no school health inspectors, school that these problems could be found if we have outreach workers within the children in schools, of boarding schools. You must have a nurse. You must have a person checking on the needs. We need a lot of, what are they called? If you are depressed, you are done what? What is done?
As a counselor.
Do we have counseling stations? People to go for counseling. Marriage is not working. Life is not working.
Yeah.
There is a time one year I met another lady. She kept on telling me in the car, all of us, a friend is a girlfriend. She said, David, we are not compatible with the man.
Yeah.
So I kept on asking, this word is still ringing in my mind. And this lady was very firm. She said, we are not compatible. Compatible with David. We don't compare at all with that guy.
Don't get along. Leave him alone.
So I asked the word compatible. What do you mean? We can't. That we have all the way, I think we're in a car all the way from Bungoma, coming back to Nakuru. Then we return to Nairobi. Many of us, we heard the story. I thought it was a joke.
But you have
I remember we had gone for Madame Amina's homecoming. So we came back talking, and the lady, I was with my friend, you don't know him. My friend, myself, and the driver, Vincent. The lady kept on saying, compatibility.
It's important. It's very
important. Then, after a few days, after a few months, the person that this lady talked about was involved in a murder case. So I called this lady, I said, is this the one? He said yes. The man was very incompatible.
And compatibility comes in terms of values. What are the things, what is your value base? Me and you, religion, things like that. They're things that you really must be on the same page for you to actually work out. If you think differently, then you'll be at loggerheads all the time. So compatibility is a very vital, I think, tool when it comes to nurturing a relationship and having a healthy relationship. So that is a must. You must get along. You must agree on some things in life that are very fundamental.
Let me tell you, the problem why Africa is as it is today, we don't have social contract. The social base is not there. We have not created it, and that is where the problem is. A person on retirement benefit, our fathers, uncles, grandfathers, they can't get their checks. Someone has corruptly eaten the money. We don't have outreach workers, social workers, nurses, home visitors, probation officers. In Kenya, probation officers are on paper. But I don't know whether you have one in where you live.
I know some community workers who volunteers.
Who are volunteers. But government must have these people coming back in a community. Such a problem of the younger boy who posted these things would have been detected. If the parents were not leaving this boy alone in the house, if you have a community worker, a social worker, who looks after their houses 10, 20. These are the institutions that President Uhuru Kenyatta is trying to build back, such that a social worker will know that house, the children have been beaten. This child comes to school with wounds, with bruises. What is happening to the child? Those are some of the things that social services do. So we must work hard to bring our countries back to the level when the colonial master left us.
But with these children, Doctor, I'll still insist, parenting. Because there are things my son cannot even think about doing.
Parents will also say...
he knows it's not acceptable. You cannot push outside of that boundary. A child has to understand their boundaries. You can do up to here. When you pass that, there's going to be a problem and the repercussion for your actions. So with these kids, it all boils down to parenting. And parents, we have to take the blame this time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Remember, Ezekiel Mutua was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Ezekiel Mutua told
banning
you,
those songs,
banning these songs, banning these films. I want to thank you. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Punchline Africa TV to thank you, Ezekiel Mutua, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, for the tenacity and the good work that you have done to keep this society united. But what does Africa want in the global facets that are changing? Are we changing with the latest versions of Britain?
We are confused.
Of where we have
just in the middle of it.
Earrings everywhere. You can't differentiate in bed if you're a thief coming to steal at night. You don't know whether you are stealing things from a woman or a man. Because some men have hair plaited exactly like a woman.
Yeah.
So you have to change the whole of...
We compete
even thieves, even thieves are now finding it difficult to check whether you came to steal the man or the woman. So these behaviors are very disturbing to Africa, and they are intruding African culture that used to be the fundamental, the base, the core of our social structures, the structure of of social behavior. We used to have everything, teaching the children how to smile, how to talk to people.
We still do.
Yes, but there are few communities.
We should. We still...
People, you can't tell a child in Britain how to smile.
Not how to smile, but at least...
Because they call it blush.
How to be kind and
polite.
polite.
What is this thing called blush? Because maybe today you might tell me.
I don't know. Blush is what? I know blush for makeup. You blush.
No. you look you are making me blush.
Oh, shy.
Is it? Yeah. Most of the girls these days, oh, you make me blush. Unaanza story namna hivyo. When you are telling the girl, oh, you look so cute. Oh, you are making me blush.
Cute is not a...
Then the next stage, you'll see.
Like, don't tell me I look cute. Just say...
What should I say?
You look lovely today, and then just leave it there, and then I'll say thank you. And that's it.
No, that's why for me I have...
Because cute and these are the words,
that's why we don't... Miriam, that's why I don't greet you at times.
You don't greet
so
me.
Don't blame me.
Yeah.
Because I could greet you by saying you look so cute. Then say,
No. Don't tell me I look cute. I just said that. But you're well dressed today. Thank you. Or you look beautiful today. Thank you. And just leave the conversation right there. You push it further, then I don't blush. I'll just tell you to mind your business.
Oh, well. This is a very serious scenario. We end it that way. Push it further. I tell you,
we'll have a problem.
Mind your business.
Get busy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Continue teaching us what we should do, how we should look after our families, how we should behave. Don't kill your husband because he has got an insurance policy.
Yes.
Just talk to him to break it and you eat while you are on earth.
But that's not okay.
Or both of you. No, I don't know. I'm not talking of any. But there are people there. Don't also kill your wife in order to go and marry the other one. Because when you married her, you knew she was worth it. So please.
I think it's very sad. That was a
solve these problems. We know we have too many problems in the community. But let's solve them without killing each other.
Yes. Let's just spread love.
Yes. Spread love.
Omot, thank you very much.
And don't say cute.
No, cute, no. That's for a cat. I can say, this cat is cute, or a puppy. Not me. I'm not cute.
Now, Mr. Ogobe Omoti said you look lovely, Miriam. Is that okay?
I'll take it. Thank you, sir. And I'll see you here on Sunday.
On Sunday, we shall talk about Zimbabwe and Biafra.
And Biafra, yes.
People on Sunday on Africa Showdown at 2 p.m., Zimbabwe and Biafra. Thank you.
And yes, we'll look at the latest, including the Ruga settlements that are really Biafrans. They're not welcome there in the Biafra land. So we'll meet you here on Sunday for the Africa Showdown.
Don't forget Ogebe Omoti Ochan says you look lovely.
I'll take that. Thank you.
She looks cute.
I'll fight you after this.
Miriam is going to fight me after this. When you see me, 2 p.m. Zambian time, no. 1 p.m. Zambian time.
You're an hour.
Yes, you are an hour ahead, sir, Mr. Yes. Thanks. I would like to watch, but I have to go back to work.
Yes, I have to go back.
Thank you very much. Now. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good, lovely day. And she is, oh my God, she is very stunning indeed. That's Sarah. Yeah. She's still looking at you with the black beauty.
Sarah, you're very lovely as well. Thank you for the kind words. Now, can we see them on Sunday?
On Sunday, she will be here.
Yes.
I might not be there, but I will be here. Okay. I might be doing some other things. Thank you very much for making Abdul Aziz Ahmed.
My friend.
German lady.
Abdulaziz.
You look nice. I am coming very close. Where?
Abdulaziz is the one from Oslo, if I'm not wrong, because Abdi Samad has been really on our case. Abdi Samad. I've not seen him.
Abdi Samad, since we started the situation of Somalia, he turned against me.
Come on, come back. But Abdulaziz, nice
Zakaria Magok said, good for both of you, Miriam and Professor David.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my brothers. Thank you. More
and we love
messages.
We love you back.
We love you. No, we like you back.
No, I love you for watching.
Me, I like you
I
for
can
watching.
say that, and thank you so much.
Yes, she's the one saying it, not me.
I love you for watching, all of you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Clearly, a beautiful.
Thank you. Don't misbehave. Don't drink and drive. Abide by the law.
of the country.
Drive safely.
The law of the land.
Take your time to drive. If your appointment is 10 o'clock, start at 7 o'clock. Don't rush. We need you alive. We need Africa to be stronger. We need you to live, to see the future generation, to see how Africa will improve. We need you, more of you, to broadcast, to talk frankly like we do. Thank you very much. And Zakaria Magok, all the way from Canada.
And Justin Trudeau is in problem now, the blackface he did.
We don't know how the Prime Minister was trying to dress in red, then black.
He asked for forgiveness. I think it's the blackface which really, that was used a long time ago to depict Africans, to demean Africans, so it's not. But he has apologized. And
this guy, no, this is the same man you said is not here. He's in Mogadishu. Abdelaziz Ahmed.
Oh,
no, by the way, in Mogadishu, there is a crisis between the Prime Minister and the Faramijo. They don't know who should go to the UN. So this thing of the border conflict brought heat. Heat has arrived, and Abdulhamid Aziz knows the heat is hitting them. You better come to table. Tell anybody in Somalia, come to table and talk to Kenya. Kenya is your neighbor, is not Yemen.
We're not enemies. Abdiaz, it's nice to see you.
Ezekiel is watching from Jakarta, Indonesia. Ooh. Thank you very much. It is all. Our President Uhuru Kenyatta, is somewhere around there in Singapore.
Ezekiel, there's some videos this guy is like watching there in the production about the eat snakes and rats. And have you tasted any of that stuff?
Yes. North Korea, I tested the snake. There used to be wine, North Korean wine. They dry the snakes, they remove the poison, and after you have drunk, snake wine is very good in North Korea. That's why you see my skin at this age, the skin is still fantastic. Don't you see, Miriam? Don't do like that. Look at the skin and give me a credit. Miriam does not eat skin. Snakes are eaten.
Yeah. Indonesians.
Indonesia,
Steve
North Korea.
Steve enjoys watching those videos.
South Korea.
I don't understand.
Yeah, Stephen. Don't you see Stephen will never grow old?
No, but he does not eat snakes.
Stephen, our general manager, will never grow old because if you took him to Indonesia,
he'd eat the frog.
Yes.
Emmanuel, you're watching us from Germany. Guten Tag.
You know, one of the things that is Stephen, you have seen now, Miriam has exposed you. that you watching, you have reported a very nice thing.
He can take a whole hour just
watching snakes.
Him and the meals, those very interesting cuisines from this.
GM, no wonder, but Stephen, you can see, never grows old. The way I saw Stephen 14 years ago is the way he is. From 2006.
He just takes good care of himself, I think.
2006, 2007. Stephen has been the same person.
Yes.
So Emenike says, Miriam, you are very beautiful. Oh my God, continue bisecting the issues in Africa. Thank you very much,
Namdi.
Yes, Namdi.
Emmanuel, thank you for the kind
Alex, Emmanuel, thank you very much. If it was me who said it, I would be beaten here. She wants to beat me in the studio. But she has to weigh her strength first.
I'll just hire somebody to do that. Because I literally can.
You have heard what Miriam wants to do. that Miriam wants to hire somebody to beat me up. No, please. Don't do that.
I didn't mean it like that, but hey, because
Before-
I literally can fight you.
Before both of you are professional.
Yes.
God bless you all, my leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
The
So much.
issues we have discussed today are very important.
And we've talked about Biafra. I'm seeing a lot of Biafrans just coming up right now. We're about to finish the show. Where
Yes,
were you?
we have-
But Sunday we'll be here and we'll talk about
Yes,
Biafra.
on Biafra, we did talk very many things.
We did.
About Biafra,
And
about Cameroon,
Amazon.
about the peace process,
In South
about South Sudan,
Zimbabwe.
about Zimbabwe. The doctor in Zimbabwe has resurfaced. How can you be kidnapped for 1 week and your phone is still working? Wasn't this doctor in an embassy which can jam the telephone? Zimbabwean security, check that. This doctor could have been in American embassy.
In Zimbabwe.
Well kept. Yes, because America has been against the government of Mugabe. He must have gone in one of the embassies to cause a crisis where you can jam, because embassies have jammers. You know, telephone jammer. It's a small thing like this. It can jam the whole of this area.
They did when Obama came here, they did that.
They jammed the whole place, but Obama's jammer is bigger, it's a satellite. But the jammers that are sold in Edgeware Road in London, Edgeware Road, Paddington, around Paddington, and all those areas, suckers, they are military installation shops. You can buy a jammer that can jam a telephone so that you are not found where you are. So this man, this Zimbabwe doctor, interfering signal, that is Zimbabwe doctor, you are in Zambia. Careful.
Hold on. You work with, maybe you should get me one of those.
No, to do what? To jam me? Oh.
Not you. Praise. Thank you, though. He's saying he's aware of what we're talking about. It's all interference.
Careful. You need to get in touch with me. Yes, because I want.
We should jam this politician.
Yes, you know what? In Kenya, we need those. In Kenya, careful, praise, we need those jammers. When you go to a rally and they start making noise, you jam them. So our number is well known. It is here. You call us. We need those jammers signals. Somebody was complaining about the Grace Mugabe wear, the covering of.
Yeah.
She said someone was very annoyed from some place.
But she's supposed to cover herself like that. I think it's in line with mourning.
Yes.
She feels comfortable. Like, come on, she's mourning, people.
No, she is mourning with bitterness.
She's bitter and mourning. Mugabe
Very
also
bitter.
died bitter.
Emmanuel-
Why would she be bitter?
I don't know. She wanted the leadership. But Makiu, after the burial of the husband, she's going to be a lethal weapon in Mnangagwa's government.
She does not have the power. Her covering is gone.
No,
I don't think she would dare.
not for Mnangagwa, it will be. Remember, there is a lot of money that was left. And some people don't know where the money is. So it's bound to cause a lot of chaos.
In Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
But she better trade carefully. Because if she tries anything funny, she's not safe anymore. Her covering is gone. Her
No, but
insurance,
Emerson is a very good man.
they'll protect her.
Emerson is a very good, understanding, old guy.
So she better be a good lady now.
Yes. By the way, Emerson and Museveni were born on the same day,
Oh, really? They share the same birthday?
15th September.
Okay.
Yeah. Museveni celebrated his birthday or something like that.
Over the weekend.
Yeah. He did not appear in Harare. I stood in for Uganda with my kofia. Next time you bring that kofia here so that I wear it and the people see.
You're supposed to take a photo with the kofia there and then share with us.
No, I did. The photos. You didn't see.
I just saw one.
With a very nice Wow. Very nice kitenge. I looked so. That was after the burial, after the funeral.
For the funeral.
We went to a very posh, restaurant. You need to go there, Mama. It's fantastic.
I'll visit Zimbabwe.
Yes.
I'll visit Biafra. I'll visit.
No, you Biafra.
South Africa is where
Who
I have
is
to
taking
wait.
you?
I can take myself. South Africa is
Why
where now.
Why are you like a Besige?
But I can.
Like messages. I myself.
But I can, though. I want to go there and report and see for myself what is happening in Biafra. What is happening in Amazonia?
No, but you didn't know we have a program. We are going to Nigeria. One way or the other, we are going to Nigeria. I'm telling you.
I hope I'll be safe.
No, you will.
But I would really love to visit Biafra.
And then journalists take risks.
And do a report there.
Journalists take risks. Commonwealth journalists will be everywhere. Right. You are allowed.
Okay.
The only thing is like me now, I will only have to send you. And you and other groups and the cameraman. Because there are so many things I've hit Buhari so hard.
So you'll be arrested?
No, they can't arrest me. Nigerians know me. I have struggled. Obasanjo, when he was in jail, I struggled for him to be released. So I've been speaking out my mind. Yes, unless
Buhari has other issues. All right. On what you think Grace is hungry for power, she is, and I think she is the engine behind the mess that engulfed President Robert Mugabe in his latter days. But that is a conversation we'll have on Sunday. We'll talk about Zimbabwe and also Biafra. So you keep in touch and on the African show.
Careful, praise says be careful. They can in the north they can kidnap you.
I'm not going to the north.
There is warning all of us.
Biafra is not in the north, right?
Yes.
But in the north is where the Somalis came from.
No, it's north. It's where that's why we have
Fulanis.
Boko Haram.
Fulanis.
Yes, up to this area of the Horn of Africa.
Yes, indeed.
Anybody who can pass this message to Somalia to cool down and come back on table.
I'll come to Mogadishu, but we still need some agreement. Abdiaziz Ahmed is saying we visit Mogadishu. It will be a pleasure, but...
Ahmed, you are in Mogadishu. Why don't you tell the Famijo to come on table? Thank you very much for watching, all of you. We want to take this opportunity to thank all of you and to thank the rest of Africa, the rest of the international community diaspora, for having watched us for 2.5 hours. We are back here. We want to thank Kotu for opening up our session. We want to thank the former Prime Minister also for speaking about Africa and why we pay dearly to fly in Africa and not in Europe. And we want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta for giving us the space to speak. Isn't it?
It's called democracy.
Yes. Some countries you can't speak.
I know.
There are some countries in Africa that are suffocated.
Just across the Lake Victoria, you can't.
Yes, it is terrible. Clamp down. We have to talk across even in Tanzania.
You can't speak, so it's here.
Yes, there's a journalist there facing. He was brought in
very fictitious charges.
Yeah, with beat the legs. He can't walk. He has been beaten.
They took him to the hospital. I think.
I don't know.
Yesterday.
And elsewhere there are many places. So, and we want to wish PLO Lumumba a good journey, a good speech in You talk about PLO Lumumba. Yesterday, PLO Lumumba told me to tell the world this because I have become now his spokesman. Yeah. He told me to tell you, someone is using his name to write parody, phantom accounts created in his name. Mr. PLO Lumumba has no Twitter account, no Facebook account, no YouTube account, no Instagram account.
He does not?
He doesn't.
Oh, that's impressive.
He has never written anything. In fact, he doesn't. PLO Lumumba has only his phone and the text.
And WhatsApp?
No. And WhatsApp, yes. So the accounts that you see that are running everywhere, that the PLO has said this, these are fake accounts. You saw the letter. I think, Stephen, can you bring the letter, please? It is on my Facebook page. Can you bring the letter? Can you bring the letter so that it can be shown on the screen before we close? He asked me to do that. I had forgotten. He has no account. So those who are pretending that, who are saying who are saying PLO has got an account, are lying. There is no account at all. He doesn't have one account at any time. Stephen, should I send it to you?
And while you do that, I see a lot of Biafrans here. I remember Nnamdi Kanu has been in Europe there, in Geneva, and he's been meeting with different organizations of the United Nations, and he gave a speech there. I think the other day he also spoke at the European Union Parliament. And of course, from every indication, there's palpable air of assurance that all these years of neglect of Biafran as a global is becoming now a global issue and is requiring serious attention, and is now will be a thing of the past. So I think there's some assurance with the inroads he's been making there, trying to reach out to the different bodies in the United Nations, and so there is some hope in the future. So I continue following what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, and we'll bring you, of course, up to date on Sunday.
Oh, your friend Abdulaziz from Mogadishu. Read it for people.
Dr. David, you're a conflict resolution expert. Why don't you go between Somalia and Kenya? He wants you to mediate that.
Yes, I'm ready. That's why I'm always balancing. I'm calling upon Somalia, please. But Somalis don't want to listen. So time is going to come. People take sides. What can we do? This conflict should be addressed, should be discussed, should be done from a Somalia point of view and a Kenyan point of view, not to be taken to the court. The moment that court makes any slight ruling,
That'll be the end.
the world will be gone. That is the letter of the PLO, Professor PLO Otieno Lumumba. Please, he says, don't misuse his name. Those impersonating him should stop forthwith. He has reported the matter to the police. Detectives are on the lookout. Whether you are in which country, they will fish you out. And the Interpol has been alerted. Yes. Thank you. That's my friend. He says, no, we wish you good luck in Malawi. Professor PLO Lumumba, he's in Malawi giving a lecture tomorrow morning.
All right.
And thank you very much. He's a very one of the best African speakers. And I don't know where he gets his brains. Very powerful brains. Very electronically equipped with all words. They flow bigger words. So someone is doing a parody, and phantom accounts have been bought.
Using his name.
Using his name.
It's very dangerous.
Very dangerous. All hail Biafra must come. We did Biafra. You people are coming in late. May God help you.
But Sunday coming early.
Coming early on Sunday, Miriam will be here with me, or I will be here with Miriam. We shall take the lovely, the cute afternoon.
All right, we'll see you on a cute Sunday afternoon then. We've been saying bye like 10 times. Can you now say bye and
yes.
leave?
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. This station, therefore, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.